like first time I tried a 720 or something, you know, it was complete like abandon. Like I'm
Yeah, see, I don't know if I'd ever done that.
You're dialed. Yeah, but you've front flip, back flip. Surely there was a point.
Yeah,
but you did it all controlled.
I used foam and stuff like that to learn. Like my back, because this isn't my first back break. I broke my back before as well.
Okay.
And I just didn't get paralysed. I was really lucky. I just did like skeletal damage. But I was trying to do a backflip into foam at Newport.
Oh, that was a sketchy foam pit, wasn't it? Yeah. That was the only one back then, wasn't it?
Terrible.
The only foam pit.
It was about that deep. Yeah. But I was bored. It was at the end of the day riding BMX with Chris Ackrig, Eddie Tongue. Basically, we were watching Eddie Tongue because he was unbelievable. Very good. He's still bloody unbelievable. And Horsey. And it was the end of the day and I was just bored and I wanted to go and everyone was still riding.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd do some jumps in the foam pit. And I kind of, there was like a box before the foam pit and then the foam pit. And I got a bit bucked on the box and then I went into the foam pit wrong and I was just like being daft. I just sort of sat back and went in really steep. And I thought, that's probably how you do a backflip. And no trials was backflipping then at all. None of us had any idea about that stuff. And I thought, I'll try a backflip. So I went in and just did what I did before. And I kind of did that thing that old school BMX used to do. I sort of like arched my body.
Scorpion
flip like that. I thought that was the way to do it. And I tried that and it just went up in the air vertically and just come back down. I was like, I thought at that point I should have gone, that isn't how you do backflips. But I didn't. I thought, I've got to go faster, more. Higher. And I went back and I fucking went for it. And I got pretty much upside down, not really upside down, come down on my head and I just folded myself in half in that foam pit. And I felt my legs kind of go, like really weird, like fit almost. And I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. And Chris come over and asked me if I was all right. And I was like, yeah, like when you're sort of like, oh, I'm fine, like that. And I got out of the foam pit and I couldn't hold my shoulders up. I like had my hands in my pockets trying to hold my upper body up because basically my spine was broke. And I was just like, I feel bad. I said to Horsey, I think I need to go to the hospital. This is about half an hour afterwards. So I've been wandering around trying to get...
goodness. And it wasn't stable. It wasn't...
And Horsey was freaking out because he was like, he thought maybe I had like internal bleeding or something. Yeah. So he was freaking out. And we got in the car and he drove me to the hospital and they were like, oh, no, you've cracked your spine. And I was like, what? Oh my God. Like, this is terrifying. And loads of riders I know now have done it. But it's a scary thing to hear.
Yeah.
Like Sam's done it loads. I think he's done it a couple of times. Chris Smith's done it like twice. Basically, it's like fuck up your vertebrae.
But it's close always. That's a family member of mine had a speedway crash, broke his back, and I always seem to hear that same thing. It's like you were millimeters.
Yeah, that's the nurse said to me. She was like, "Don't get up.
Yeah,
you were
close."
It was like, "Don't keep moving around," because it was still going on. And I was like, "Oh my God!" And I basically had about 6 months. No, not as long as that. Maybe about 4 months of just like waiting for it to heal. And then I got back riding. And then we went to one of the bike shows and it was the one where all of the BMX stars were there. I was just fucking, it was amazing. Mirror was there.
Yeah, I remember that one. Watching it, obviously.
And
Scotty Cramner.
He
was doing the fronties then, wasn't he? He was like the first person to do like... fronties.
And the vert was just incredible.
Yeah,
and I was chatting to Simon Tabron, which I was stoked on because I loved Simon Tabron. And we were chatting away, and he was like, "Oh, I heard you hurt your back." I wasn't back riding at that point. I was there, I think. I was just wandering around. And he was like, "Oh, you hurt your back on a flip," and I was like, "Yeah." And he went, "Oh, don't worry, you'll get them." And I was like, I mean, that's them BMXs for you. I was just like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to fucking try it again. Back. And then he went, dude, you have to. And I was like, what? And he was like, well, you've paid the price, but you don't own the trick. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. It's just like, it's undeniably true.
Yeah.
It's like, I broke my back doing backflips and I can't backflip. It's like, I can't spend the rest of my life with this bad back. Like my back's literally crooked at the top here. It's high injury as well. It's like I can't spend the rest of my life not being able to backflip.
He is right.
It's like you paid the ultimate price for it. It's been expensive.
Yeah.
So I had to go and learn backflips, and I was so this is me like, you know, I don't do things I don't think I can't do. So I hired, there's a lake called Vobster Key, really deep lake.
A lake.
Yeah, it's a massive lake as well, right? And I was like, well, I wasn't going back to Newport. I was like, well, how do I learn?
Where's the lake?
I think it's near Bath.
Oh, it's in the UK.
Somewhere there.
Okay.
How do
It's
you
in the
go
UK.
about hiring a lake?
It's massive, right? But it's
Chuck money
where
in.
they do like, they've got like planes down in the bottom of it, super deep, and
Right,
they do
yeah.
deep diving in there. But basically, I was like, I need to be able to use the lake, and I need to be able to use the road into the lake for a run up. So I had to hire the lake, right? It cost me like 500 quid for the day or something. And I went there with Chopper and
way.
Robin Kitchen, and we put the bike tour ramp up that Chopper used. And I said to Chopper, like, come along and show me how to flip. And he was one of the only guys who could flip.
Yeah, and he was dialed back then. He was
that
dialed.
guy's
yeah.
so good.
Well, I mean,
man.
he still is
He's
dialed.
so good. Oh, we've got to talk about those guys in a minute. Because
Yeah.
you'll know what I'm talking about. It's Pilgrim and all those guys. Got to talk about them.
Yeah.
But, right, so basically I hired this lake, and Chopper tried the ramp, flipped in, because he can flip, right? We've both got like wetsuits on. He's on his dirt jet bike in a wetsuit, and for some reason his helmet didn't have a peacock, so he looks ridiculous. And I'm there in a wetsuit, right? And I'm like not the shape of, you know what I mean, little fat belly, trial shoulder, like in my little wetsuit on my trials bike, so it doesn't go fast.
Nah.
And Chopper does a flip in, comes out of the water, and he's like, oh, it's cold. It's really cold. And I go to him, so, right, okay, so what do I do? And he went, you just go for it.
That was what he could bring to
And I
the
was
table.
like, what that? Well, that's the lesson.
for it.
And he was like, yeah, you just go up the ramp and just go for
Could
it.
have put that in email shop.
And I was like,
put
dude,
that in
you've got
email.
to tell me more than that. And he was like, oh, I don't know, you just... And he was like, you've got your wetsuit on. And I was like, oh, brilliant. And I did my first actual backflip to tyres, essentially hitting the water with the tyres, was about a 40-foot back. I went so fast. I just went down this hill just like that. And I'd thought about it so much in my injury time that I'd kind of worked out in my head how to do it.
Yeah.
And it worked first go pretty much. I
Really,
went slightly front wheel first go, but it was massive. Like, on a trials bike as well. It had this rolling hill in, so I had speed that you've got no right to get on a trials bike. You know, great big long stem on it, and just went, massive flip. And then I was like, right, now I can backflip, but there's no way I'm ever going to do a 40-foot backflip on a trial. So I had to shrink it. I had to like learn it real and shrink it down, because what I decided was like, right, I need to be able to do it on the show, else I'm never going to be happy.
Yeah.
I knew what I had to do, and then I basically had to go back to Newport, knowing I could now do it, and do it exactly the same. And I was like, I've just got to do it. But I knew I could do it.
God, it was really
horrible.
hard. That is,
And because it's indoors, it felt like the next minute.
Yeah.
It just felt like, you know, the bloody music they used to play in there, bloody hard rock was playing. I was like,
it's got that Vegas light.
any
They don't
time-
want to let you know what the time is outside.
has
It's
any
just
time
so-
gone by? And I was just sat there thinking, oh, fuck, what if I do it again? What an idiot I'd
So
be.
you got it dialed though?
I did it like, I'd learned it in the lake. I did about 30 into that lake.
40
We just spent,
footers.
just getting used to it. And I had a couple go wrong, so that was good.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, part of hiring the lake meant we had our own diver in the water. And he just swam about all day. Yeah.
What else do you hire the lake for? Just a bit of a side.
No, it's like a diving lake. You go there diving. It's like a thing.
But you're hiring it to go diving.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
but you wouldn't
But then they
normally
chuck in a
hire the
diver,
lake.
or
You
what?
wouldn't no, but you wouldn't normally hire the lake. You just
Okay.
go there and dive in the lake. But
Okay.
because I had to have the road,
Yeah,
in,
understood.
needed the
understood.
whole
I was
Yeah,
makes
I was
sense,
all they
yeah.
could have that day, so I had to basically pay for the lake that day.
Yeah.
But they
That's
gave
so
me a
good.
diver in the water in case anything went wrong.
Did you enjoy this clip? If so, please like and subscribe. The full episode is available by hitting one of the links on the screen right now, or type the Ride Companion into your favourite podcast app. We've even put links in the show description for you. Cheers!